I'm Hayden, 36, a freelance designer from Mississippi. When I lost everything in a fire and showed up at my parents' porch, Dad leaned back in his recliner and laughed. You? Homeless? I thought freelancing was fancy. I'd paid their mortgage, their bills, even my sister's honeymoon. But when I needed shelter, they offered silence. Now, in the still hum of Charlotte's old car, I scroll through 37 missed calls, and the scent of burned fabric still clings to my hoodie. If you've ever given more than you had to people who gave you nothing back, tell me where you're listening from tonight. The light above me buzzes like it's losing patience. I've tightened the bulb twice this week, but it keeps stuttering. That's how things are in the back room of Charlotte's print shop, mostly functional, just not reliably so. I sit at the folding table with a black notebook in front of me, the pages worn soft at the edges. It's not the kind of ledger most people keep. No profits, no projections. Just transactions that never balanced. Charlotte's printer hums in the main room beyond the door. Out here it's just me, the numbers, and the faint smell of toner and ink. A calculator, older than Kyle probably, rests beside the ledger. Every button click echoes too loudly in the quiet. I type $850. Kyle's rent, January, $1,200. Paige's car insurance, April, $378. Mom's Macy's card, July. The math adds up. The emotions don't. It's 10:30 p.m., late enough that the streets outside are quiet, the Mississippi heat finally relaxing its grip. I just come back from Sunday dinner, same house, same seat. Brought the groceries, paid for them too, left with leftovers in foil and silence in my chest. I flip back a few pages. May 3rd, paid for Dad's car battery. I underline it slowly. He never said thanks. Not then, not ever. He just started the engine and told me, that's what family does. Yeah, I press on, flipping through months, then years. $3,600. Paige's honeymoon, $5,000. Down payment for Kyle's second truck, $14,200. Mortgage, year 2. Somewhere along the way, it stopped being help and started being expected. I can't say exactly when. The back door creaks. Charlotte pokes her head in. She's wearing a hoodie, hair pulled back, glasses low on her nose. You're still crunching family numbers? She asks. I manage half a smile. Just checking how deep the hole goes. She nods once, like she gets it. Try to sleep before sunrise, yeah? The door clicks shut. I lean back, close my eyes for a second. The ledger sits open like an accusation. I remember buying that first bag of groceries for Mom when Dad was laid off. I remember saying it was temporary. I remember believing it. Now, 6 years later, the list is too long to memorize. I click the calculator again. The total on the display makes me pause. $280,440.87. I say it out loud. 6 years. I don't expect the number to echo, but somehow it lingers in the room like smoke. I thought that's what sons did. They helped. They filled in the gaps, paid it forward, covered the overdrafts, financial and emotional. But I don't think anyone remembers who signed the checks. Not really. They just know the power stays on, the car gets fixed, the rent clears. They know the needs get met. They never ask who made sure of it. I shut the ledger slowly. I'm tired, not just tonight tired, but the kind of tired that stretches back months, years. Opening my laptop, I log into the banking app I've used for a decade. The login screen looks the same. My password hasn't changed in 5 years. Until now, I type a new one. Stronger, less familiar. It's not about security. It's about separation. As I close the laptop, the screen lights up with a message. Mom, Kyle needs rent by Friday. Can you handle it? I stare at the screen. No, hi. No, thank you for dinner. Just need again. I pick up the pen, flip to the first page of the ledger, and circle that one line. May 3rd. Paid Dad's car battery. That's where it started, and maybe, finally, I know where it ends. The smell of hot concrete does it. Not perfume, not food. Just heat rising off pavement, baking into the air the same way it did the summer I was 12. That's all it takes to send me back to Polk Street. Our old house was boxy, olive green, and always about 5 degrees hotter inside than it was outside. No central air, just window units humming in the bedrooms, and a ceiling fan in the living room that squeaked every third turn. It's funny what you remember. That fan. And the carpet, beige but with weird orange undertones. And me, sitting cross-legged on the floor with a stack of colored pencils and a sketch pad I guarded like a secret. I'd just come home from school with a blue ribbon folded in my backpack. First place in the county-wide drawing competition. My community. I drew the Hattiesburg water tower with kids playing underneath and a dog chasing a frisbee. I was proud of that one. Dad was in the kitchen. Kyle, who was 10 then, was in the hallway crashing a remote control car into the baseboards. I remember calling out, "Dad, look what I won." He didn't come over. He didn't ask to see it. Instead, Kyle's car skidded under the coffee table, flipped, and cracked in half. And Dad laughed, really laughed, one of those from-the-gut laughs I rarely heard. "That boy's got fire," he said. I just stood there, blue ribbon in hand, my drawing still rolled tight like a diploma. A minute later, Mom walked in, saw me still holding the paper, and said, "You're always so sensitive, Hayden. Can't you just be happy for your brother?" I hadn't said a word. That was the first time I felt it. Not rejection, not quite. Something softer, but sharper too. Being invisible. I stopped showing my drawings after that year. A few weeks later, there was a church fundraiser. Hot dogs and lemonade in folding chairs on patchy grass. Dad wore his good jeans. Kyle ran around with the other boys, already showing off a scar on his elbow from a bike fall he hadn't cleaned properly. At some point, someone asked my dad about his kids. He gestured toward Kyle and said, "That one's gonna be something. Tough, smart, built for the world." Then he waved vaguely behind him and added, "The older one's into design stuff." There was a small laugh, polite, short, like someone accidentally stepped on a leaf. I held a plate of cookies I had helped Mom arrange. She didn't look at me. That night, back in my bedroom, I opened my sketchbook and looked at the last drawing I'd done. An old tree with a swing, shaded carefully in soft pencil. I closed it, put a rubber band around it, tucked it beneath the bed. I haven't drawn for myself since. Years later, when we moved out of the Polk Street house and I left for college, Mom let most of my childhood things go in a yard sale. But somehow, one thing made it through. The art kit. Brown leather, worn at the corners, still faintly smelling of graphite and pine. It's on the shelf behind me now, here in the print shop's back room. I haven't opened it in over a decade. But sometimes I stare at the handle, thumb the crease where my hand used to fit when I carried it to school like a briefcase. I thought staying quiet made things easier, made me less of a burden. But I see it now. Silence didn't buy me peace. It bought me erasure. Later that night, Charlotte walks back in. She's carrying a tray of test prints from the machine, Doesn't say anything at first, just sets the tray down and scans the room like she always does, like she's reading energy. She glances at the closed ledger on the table, then at the art kit on the shelf. "You ever get anything back from them?" she asks. I don't answer, because if I'm being honest, I'm still trying to figure out what I gave away in the first place. Same house, same seat by the kitchen, same feeling, like furniture, not family. The dining room hasn't changed since I was a teenager. The same floral wallpaper, curling slightly at the seams. The same brass light fixture overhead, humming faintly like it always did when the air conditioner kicked on. And the same chair, mine by default, that rocks slightly if you lean too far to the left. There's a hairline crack on the backrest I traced with my thumb every Sunday for years. It's still there. Dinner's on the table. Fried okra, roast beef, mashed potatoes with too much salt, just the way Dad likes them. Cold, sweet tea sweating into plastic cups. I picked up everything on my way over. Grocery list texted to me by Mom that morning. She didn't ask if I was busy. She just said, "You know what Dad likes." Kyle's already talking before I've finished serving myself. "So this guy I know says he's opening up a cryptocurrency cafe in Mobile. Like, you pay for your coffee with tokens, right?" And I was thinking, what if I got in on something like that here? He nods like he's solved the housing crisis. Paige hums in approval, tapping at her phone. She hasn't looked at me once since I walked in. "I'd invest," she says. "If I didn't already max my card on my Botox package last week. Totally worth it though. Look, no lines." She pushes her forehead forward, smooth as vinyl. Dad forks another chunk of roast beef and chews with purpose. "So, Hayden," he says finally, "still freelancing?" I smile with my mouth, but not my eyes. "Still running my design studio, yeah. Clients are steady, working on a rebrand for a small law firm downtown." "Must be nice," he says, in the tone that means it isn't. Mom cuts in before I can say more. "Don't pressure him. He's just finding himself." I almost laugh. I've been paying their mortgage for 3 years. Kyle clears his throat and continues with his pitch. "So, like, we'd have NFTs on the wall, right? Local artists. Maybe something printed on metal. I'd call it bit beans." No one at the table flinches. I nod slowly. "If you're serious, I'd be happy to help you build a basic pitch deck, or even—" "This isn't about you, Hayden," Mom snaps. The room stiffens, except for Kyle, who's now gesturing like he's mid-TED talk. "Let your brother have a moment." That does it. Not the interruption, not the scolding. The assumption that I'm always about to take too much space when I've spent my life quietly paying for the air they breathe. They don't notice when I stop eating. They don't notice when I start gathering my plate, wiping the table, checking my watch. They don't notice when I step away before dessert is even mentioned. In the kitchen, I rinse my hands and reach back, letting my thumb brush the crack on the chair. Still there. Outside, the air's still warm, holding on to late summer humidity. I sit in my car for a full minute before starting it, watching the porch light flicker. Later that night, my phone buzzes. A message from Mom. No greeting, no thanks for the food or drive safe. Just need to talk tomorrow. Paige's credit card is maxed. I don't reply. I just place the phone face down on my nightstand and lie back, staring at the ceiling, wondering how long someone can sit at the same table and still never be seen. It's Dad's 60th birthday, and the backyard is strung with warm yellow bulbs that sway in the late summer breeze. The long table beneath them is dressed in a checkered cloth I bought last minute after Mom texted. Can you grab a table runner? Your father wants it to look nice. There's a smoker on the far end, ribs already sweating under the foil. The cooler's stocked with local beer, 2 kinds of soda, sparkling water, even though no one here drinks it. I paid for it all. Nobody mentions that. Paige floats between cousins, handing out napkins like a party planner. Kyle's wearing a button-down he probably borrowed from me years ago, sleeves too long. Mom's in her usual floral maxi dress and glossy sandals. She waves me over to help carry out the banana pudding. It's the same as it always is. Except this time, I really see it. Dad stands near the head of the table, one hand on his drink, the other resting on the back of Kyle's chair. The night is warm but comfortable, the kind of soft air that makes everything seem easier than it is. Someone taps a fork against a glass. A hush falls. Dad clears his throat, smiling like he's in on something the rest of us aren't. Well, he starts. 60's no small number. My knees remind me every day. Light laughter from the group. But I've been lucky. Got a wife who still puts up with me, a daughter with a head for business. He gestures at Paige, who beams. And a son who keeps pushing, no matter what comes at him. He turns fully to Kyle now, raising his glass. To Kyle, the one who keeps fighting, who's got the fire I wish I had. A round of applause, a few whoops, even from the cousins who barely know him. I clap too, because it's expected, because not clapping would be more noticeable. Paige leans in toward me and whispers, "Don't take it personal." That phrase again, like it isn't personal to pay for the brisket they're chewing. Dad takes a sip, looks around like he's finishing a set. And Hayden? He laughs just once, low in his throat. Still freelancing, huh? Must be nice to work from your sofa. The laughter starts slow, then rolls through the table like a wave. A couple of uncles chuckle. One of them slaps the table. I force a smile, but my fingers tighten around the bottle in my hand. The ribs on Dad's plate, those cost $27.95 a rack. I ordered 6. After dinner, no one says anything. No one pulls me aside. Not even Mom, who usually gives some after-the-fact, he didn't mean it excuse. Instead, people filter back into the house, full and flushed from food and heat. I stay behind, alone with the dishes. Plates stacked haphazardly, empty cups half filled with backwash and melting ice. I toss the trash into a black contractor bag, tie it, and take it to the curb. The party string lights flicker above me just once. I look up. They always do that. They did the same the year Dad forgot my birthday. I was 17. He was busy with work, or maybe it was a poker night. I remember sitting out here with a cupcake Mom microwaved to feel fresh. I blew out the candle before anyone came outside. Tonight feels like that, except colder somehow. I go back inside. Kyle's already crashed on the living room recliner. Paige is watching something on her phone, laughing at a reel. I gather the rest of the cups and dump them in the bin. No one notices. It takes me 20 minutes to clean the backyard, sweep the porch, and lock up. As I step off the last stair, I look back one more time. Dad's glass is still on the table, half empty, just like his toast. A week later, at 2 a.m., my smoke alarm goes off. At first, I think it's a dream. Then I smell it. Burning plastic. Sharp. Real. I'm out of bed in seconds, lungs tightening. And the first thing I think isn't my life is in danger. It's, I hope someone will answer when I call. The shrill screech of the smoke alarm slices through the dark. At first, I think it's the dream again. The one where I'm late for a meeting and my laptop won't turn on. But then I smell it. Sharp, chemical, burning plastic. I'm out of bed before I'm fully awake, bare feet hitting cold linoleum. My apartment, the third floor walk-up just off Highway 49, the one I've lived and worked in for almost 4 years, is filled with smoke. Not the kind you wave away from an overcooked pan, the thick, choking kind that grabs your throat and doesn't let go. I drop low, coughing hard, eyes already watering. I can't even see the outline of the door. My backpack, the hard drive, my phone, the file with my passport and social security card. I grab what I can by memory. No time for shoes, no time for clothes beyond the t-shirt and sweatpants I'm wearing. I crawl to the window, heave it up, and pull myself out onto the fire escape. The metal is cold against my hands. My breath makes white clouds in the air. I didn't even realize it had turned. Below, red lights flash like sirens in my chest. By the time I make it to the ground, neighbors are already gathered on the front lawn. Some in robes, some barefoot like me. Someone's crying. Someone else is filming. The sky is orange where it should be black. Flames lick out of the second-story windows and climb fast toward mine. A firefighter grabs my elbow, checks me for burns, asks if I need oxygen. I shake my head. I'm not hurt, not in any way he can fix. I watch the fire crawl through my apartment window and feel strangely still. Inside were my clothes, my drawing pens, the Covey I'd stopped using but still kept. The bed I built from reclaimed pine, the old art kit from Polk Street. All gone, probably. And the photos. Not the digital ones, the ones I'd tucked in the bottom drawer. A picture of me and Kyle at the lake. One of Mom when she used to laugh with her whole face. My high school drawing award, folded neatly behind him. Gone. A firefighter walks over, clipboard in hand. "Everything inside?" he asks. I nod. "Total loss," he says. I nod again, but I already knew. 2 hours later, I sit in the parking lot of a budget motel off the highway, clothes still smelling like smoke. My card barely swipes. It takes 2 tries. The room is small, beige, the kind of place that doesn't expect you to stay long. I shower in lukewarm water, scrub until my skin stings, and dry off with a towel that smells like old soap. I sit on the edge of the bed, open my phone, and stare at the text thread labeled Mom. I type, "There was a fire. I lost everything. Can I come home for a while?" I watch the 3 dots appear, then vanish, then return. Her reply comes a minute later. "It's not a good time. The guest room's full." I read it twice. Then I set the phone down on the nightstand and stare at the popcorn ceiling above me. The air conditioner kicks on with a groan. The fire was loud, destructive, obvious. But this silence, this no room for you from the people whose house I've helped keep standing for years, this is something else. I look at the backpack lying on the cheap carpet. Inside is my hard drive, my passport, my phone charger. What's not in there? The framed photo from college, my first business card, my grandmother's ring that Mom gave me when I turned 25. What's not in there? Anything soft, anything familiar. What's not in there? Home. Before I turn off the lights, I remember something small, something dumb. I'd backed up all my client files to the cloud, just in case. But not the family photos. Those were always in the drawer, because some things, I thought, would always be there. I stand on my parents' porch, wearing smoke-stained clothes and holding the only bag I own. The sky is clear, low sun casting gold across the lawn. The air smells of cut grass and dryer sheets. Too clean, too normal for the way I feel. The bushes are trimmed. The flower beds are full. The porch has been swept recently, maybe this morning. Nothing about this house looks like it's meant to receive someone in crisis. And certainly not me. I step up to the door. The same door I opened every day after school for 10 years. I press the bell, though I know they rarely hear it over the television. I knock. Mom opens the door. She pauses, eyes scanning from my shoes to my hairline. "You look tired." Her voice is flat, not cold, not warm, just neutral. Inside, I hear the sound of a baseball game. Dad's voice filters through the living room like a rerun. "Is that Hayden?" Mom opens the door a little wider, but doesn't step aside. I nod, throat dry. "There was a fire," I say. "I lost everything." She blinks once. "I saw something on the news." She doesn't ask if I'm okay. I take a breath. "I just need a place to stay. A few weeks, that's all. No money, just somewhere to land." From inside, Dad yells, "Who's at the door?" "It's Hayden," she says, not turning. Then louder, "He lost his apartment." I hear the recliner creak. Then Dad's voice, closer now. He doesn't come all the way to the door, just leans into the hall where he can see me. "You? Homeless? Hell, I thought freelancing was fancy." He chuckles. That same dry laugh I've heard 1,000 times at someone else's expense. This time, it's mine. I don't respond. Mom crosses her arms. "The guest room's full right now," she says. "We've been using it for storage. And your father's been out of sorts. This isn't really a good time." I nod slowly. "The couch then, just for a few nights." She shakes her head. "You know how your father is about his routines." Dad snorts behind her. "Yeah, I like quiet, not chaos." I glance past them into the house. Same sofa I helped them pick out during Labor Day sales 3 years ago. Same coffee table I paid for when the old one cracked. Same lamp I bought when Mom said the living room felt dim. All still here, still mine, in pieces. "It's not a shelter, Hayden," Mom says, gentler this time, as if softness changes the message. I look past her to the corner of the porch. The old swing I used to nap on during summer breaks is still there, but now it's covered in boxes. One is labeled, "Christmas, Paige." I nod again. I understand. No one asks if I need water. No one offers to make a call. No one steps aside. I step back. "Take care," I say. Mom offers a strained smile. Dad's already back in his chair. I walk down the steps slowly. The wind picks up, brushing smoke through my hair that no amount of shampoo seems to erase. I get into the borrowed car and sit still for a long moment. The house doesn't move. No one follows. No one checks. As I reach for the key, my phone buzzes. "Charlotte, you can borrow my car. Back seat's better than the street." I glance back at the porch one last time. The light above the door clicks on automatically as dusk settles in. Motion activated, not personal, just programmed. In Charlotte's car, parked behind a 24-hour gas station, I open my notes app and type, "Mortgage, $76,800. It's midnight, the kind of hour that feels like no one in the world remembers your name. The rain taps the windshield like it's asking for permission to come in. The car smells faintly of takeout from last week, and the seat fabric scratches my skin through this borrowed t-shirt. I haven't eaten since morning. Gas station coffee sits in the cup holder, lukewarm, too sweet. But it's something. I shift in the seat and keep typing. The screen glows against the dark like a confession booth. Paige's wedding, $13,500. White dress, open bar, Bali honeymoon. I wasn't invited to the toast, but I paid for the chairs they sat on. Kyle's food truck, $22,000. A project that never left the driveway. It sat in front of the house like a monument to optimism and irresponsibility. Mom's credit cards, $19,000, 12 cards. Jewelry she never wore. Shoes with tags still on. One bill said, Restoration Hardware, a lamp I never saw. Dad's surgery deductible, $8,400, gallbladder. The doctor said it was routine. The insurance said otherwise. I scroll further down the note, past smaller lines I'd forgotten even writing. Utility bills, $3,800, car repairs. Mom. $2,600, Kyle's rent. Year 1 through 3. $9,200, Paige's temporary loan. $1,500. The list grows, and with it, something else. A tightness in my chest I haven't named yet. Not quite anger, not grief, just recognition. I whisper into the silence. 6 years. It sounds like an anniversary. It isn't. I look around. A man walks out of the gas station with a plastic bag and a lottery ticket tucked into his back pocket. The world keeps moving. Mine just keeps listing. I scroll to the bottom of the note and type, Hotel after fire, $358 and pride. Then I pause. Let it sit there. The final total is rough. Give or take a few receipts lost in junk drawers or late-night transfers I never documented. But when I tally it, it hovers somewhere above $280,000. Not for my business, not for a house of my own, not for a retirement account. For them, a number big enough to change a life, just not mine. I let the phone fall gently onto the seat beside me. My hands rest on my lap, open, empty. If you spend 6 years carrying everyone, I think, you forget how to walk alone. But maybe that's what this moment is. The wobble of first steps. No apartment, no furniture, no plan. But I have this list, and now maybe I finally believe it. I whisper, no more. Tomorrow, I close the accounts. All of them. My stomach growls. I look at the trail mix on the floorboard, still sealed. I haven't touched it since Charlotte tossed it into the car earlier this week. Just in case, she said. Tonight is just in case. I take it in one hand and the phone in the other. The screen lights up. Mom, you sent the mortgage, right? It's the first. I don't answer. I just place the phone face down beside the trail mix. And for the first time in 6 years, I let silence be the reply. Jessica, the bank manager, eyes the paperwork in front of her. You're sure? She asks. Pen paused over the form. These are all tied to your family. I nod. I'm sure. It's just after 9 a.m. The bank had barely unlocked its doors when I stepped in, the air still smelling like industrial carpet and freshly printed receipts. It's quiet. Only one other customer at the far desk, whispering to a teller about a lost debit card. I'm sitting in a vinyl chair across from Jessica's desk, holding a folded sheet of paper I'd spent half the night preparing. On it, mortgage, auto payment, first of every month Mom's visa, minimum 15th Dad's car insurance, 22nd Paige's Amex. When she remembers Kyle's rent, $850 a month, Venmo utilities, gas, electric, water. 6 years of obligations, disguised as gestures of love. I hand her the list. We can close your account today, Jessica says, scanning it. Issue new cards, transfer balances. Want printed statements too? Yes, I say. I'm building a file, just in case. She doesn't ask for what. Maybe she's seen this before. As she types, her nails click softly against the keyboard. You'll lose transaction history access from the online portal once we deactivate this account, Want a printed summary of the past 5 years? I nod. Every dollar. She glances at me then, not pitying, more like curious, like she's measuring what it takes to sit here and cut the cord. She deletes the first auto payment, the mortgage, then the utilities, then Mom's credit card. Each click sounds louder than the one before. This is the first money I've kept for myself since I was 30, I say quietly. Jessica stops typing for half a second. That's a long time to give, she replies, and resumes clicking. I watch the screen empty line by line, the way you'd watch a dam drain. Each deletion is a boundary. Each boundary is a new line of breath. 30 minutes later, she slides a small envelope across the desk. Here's your new debit card. New routing, new number, everything clean. I open the envelope. There it is. A silver card with my name, just mine. Embossed in clean font. No joint owner, no emergency contact, no backup signer, just me. Back in my car, I sit with the envelope in my lap. The dashboard clock ticks. A shaft of light hits the steering wheel. I pull out my phone, open my email, start typing. Subject, financial status, effective immediately. 2, Mom, Dad, Paige, Kyle. I hope this finds you well. After much thought, I need to let you all know that I will no longer be providing financial support of any kind. This includes mortgage payments, utilities, auto payments, and any personal loans or contributions. I've saved the receipts, tracked the deposits, and built my records. This decision is final. I wish you all the best in managing your own responsibilities moving forward. Hayden. I read it twice. No emotion in the wording, no apology, no blame, just the truth. I hit send. The reply doesn't take long. I don't even make it out of the parking lot. My phone vibrates, a voicemail. Dad. I press play. Hayden, what the hell are you doing? There's more breathing than speaking. A pause, then he hangs up. No explanation, no question, no attempt to understand, just disbelief that the faucet finally turned off. I sit in the car for another few minutes, staring out across the parking lot. A bird lands on the hood, pecks at nothing, then flies away. Inside my wallet, the new debit card rests against the old one I haven't thrown out yet. I hold both for a second, then slide the old one into the glove compartment and close it without ceremony. No fireworks, no fight, just this quiet, decisive silence. And for the first time in years, the balance belongs to me. The screen lights up. 37 missed calls. I don't need to tap. I know who they're from. I'm sitting in the corner of the Hattiesburg Public Library, wedged between the dusty biography shelves and the old microfilm machine no one touches anymore. My laptop is plugged into the wall, borrowed internet flowing just enough for me to send a few client updates. The Wi-Fi here is slow but steady. The quiet helps. My phone is face down on the table, buzzing every few seconds like it's panicking. I flip it over. 14 calls from Mom, 11 from Kyle, 9 from Paige, 3 from a number I don't recognize, but I can guess. The first text comes in from Mom. Hayden, your sister's pregnant. No greeting, no question, just information, slung like a fishing hook. Then from Kyle, bro, don't screw me over. Rent's due. Then Paige, how dare you? I hope you feel proud. The messages pile on top of each other like falling bricks. I stare at the screen, thumb hovering but not touching. When I was the one paying for prescriptions, no one texted. When I covered Kyle's rent after his third roommate kicked him out for not contributing, no one called. But now that I've stopped, the silence has turned to sirens. I scroll back through the call log. There's a voicemail from Dad, one from Mom, 2 from Kyle, though I suspect one is accidental. I listen to the voicemail from Mom. Her voice is clipped, rushed, almost rehearsed. So, you just cut us off like we're strangers after everything we did? She doesn't elaborate, doesn't define everything, doesn't acknowledge the fire, the motel room, or the fact I had nowhere to sleep but Charlotte's car last week. Just we did. As if presence equaled parenting, as if showing up late and loud still counted. The library lights flicker above me, twice in rhythm with my breathing. I lean back in the chair. The cushion lets out a slow sigh, like it's tired of holding weight too. I didn't cut them off, I think. I stopped letting them bleed me dry. I open the settings app, scroll to contacts. Kyle Brooks, block. Paige Brooks, block. My thumb hovers over June Brooks. Not yet. Behind me, a college student sneezes. The printer hiccups. An elderly man to my left flips a page slowly, like each turn matters. Life goes on. So do I. I pack up my things, laptop, charger, notebook, and walk outside. The evening air is cooler now, brushing against my arms like permission. I stop at a picnic table beneath a flickering security light. Sit. Think. The calls weren't about me. They were about access. To money, to ease, to default generosity. Now that the faucet's been shut off, they're rattling the pipes. Later that night, back in the motel, I leave my phone charging on the nightstand. I try not to look at it. I almost make it. At 10:41 p.m., another message comes in. Mom, you've made your point, but we have a mortgage due. Is this how you repay us? I turn off the lamp. Let the dark say what I won't. The envelope is cream-colored and slightly bent at one corner. Hand-addressed. My father's handwriting, shaky, all caps, like someone trying to look confident on paper. I hold it between two fingers like it might still be warm from his coat pocket. Charlotte had handed it to me without ceremony. Guy in a ball cap dropped this off. Said he's your dad. She didn't ask questions. Just went back to the front of the shop, leaving me with ink and silence. I sit at the work table, the one we use to proof prints and wrap finished orders. Sunlight slants across it through the high windows, catching flecks of dust in the air. The place smells faintly of toner, coffee, and cardboard. I set the envelope down and stare at it for a full minute before sliding my finger under the flap. Inside is a single sheet of paper, folded twice. No stationery, no return address. Just a page ripped from a yellow legal pad. The handwriting fills only half the page. Hayden, your mother's upset. Paige's guy left. Kyle's sleeping on our couch again. I got a part-time job at Donnie's garage. We'll figure it out. Dad. No apology. Just facts. Just enough. I read it again, slower this time, as if the meaning might change between lines. Outside, I hear the print machine cycle up. Charlotte's voice trails into a laugh at something a customer says. Inside, I sit still, the letter in my hand. The words don't sting. They don't heal either. It's not the letter I wanted, but maybe it's the one he could give. No, I'm sorry. No, how are you? But he signed it. Dad. Not Roy, not your father, just Dad. I stand, walk to the back corner, and open the metal file box I've been keeping under the table. It's old, dented, the label peeling. In faded marker, it still reads, Brooks, personal. Inside are folders, receipts, mortgage logs, medical bills, auto transfers now. I slide the letter into a new folder labeled Correspondence. First entry, I close the lid, not with anger, not with satisfaction, just finality. I don't text him. Don't email back, I don't call, but I do something else. I open my phone and unmute voicemail, just in case. That evening, the shop grows quiet. Charlotte locks the front door early because the machine jammed and she doesn't want to wrestle with it past dinner. I'm in the back sorting supplies when she calls out. Hayden? I step into the front. She's standing by the window, her hand resting lightly on the edge of the counter. There's someone asking for you outside. I blink. Who? She says she's your mom. The words land like a dropped coin, small but unmistakable. Outside the glass door, I can just barely make out a familiar silhouette on the sidewalk. Arms crossed, shoulders drawn. I don't move, not yet. She's seated on the front steps of the studio, cardigan wrapped tight, handbag perched in her lap like a shield. She's wearing the same wedge sandals she always pulled out for church, though the heel on one is starting to fray. Her hair's been fixed for the occasion, too tightly curled, like she's tried to control something about the day. I stop just a few feet from her, arms crossed. The breeze carries a faint sweetness, honeysuckle from the alley vines, but it doesn't cut the tension. She doesn't look up right away. When she does, she offers a small smile I don't return. I didn't come to beg, she says quietly. Just to talk. I say nothing. Let the quiet stretch. It's been days since the letter from Dad, weeks since the fire, a lifetime since Sunday dinners still felt like something more than a transaction. She takes a breath and begins, voice steady but brittle. Paige lost the baby. Didn't want anyone to know. Kyle, he might get evicted. Your father's tired all the time, and she swallows. I guess we're all unraveling a bit. I don't know what she expects from me. Shock? Pity? Relief? When I was homeless, I ask, why did you laugh? That makes her blink, like the question slapped her harder than anything I could have said. She doesn't answer immediately. It was a bad day, she finally says. It was the worst day of my life. The wind shifts again, rustling the leaves behind us. Inside the shop, I can hear Charlotte's printer warming up, a low, comforting whir that feels 1,000 miles away from this conversation. I wasn't trying to be cruel, she murmurs. You've always been strong, self-sufficient. You never needed anything. I needed a place to sleep. That lands like a weight between us. She nods slowly, eyes fixed on the ground now. I don't know why we treated you like the backup plan, she says, softer this time. Maybe because you never asked for anything. Silence. But this time, it's different. Not empty, not resentful, just full of everything unsaid. I shift my stance, arms still crossed. I'm not angry, I tell her. I'm just done. She finally looks at me. Really looks. Not with the eyes of a mother who's come to fix something. Just a woman trying to reckon with what she broke. I understand, she says. And maybe she does. She stands slowly, knees creaking a little as she rises. The cardigan slips off one shoulder. She adjusts it with fingers that suddenly look older than I remember. She doesn't hug me, doesn't reach for my hand. Instead, she steps down off the porch, walks to the edge of the sidewalk, and pauses. Take care of yourself, Hayden. I am. She nods, then walks away. I don't watch her go. When I turn to re-enter the studio, I notice it. Something folded neatly on the step where she sat. A small cloth-wrapped bundle. I kneel, unwrap it slowly. Inside, the knitted scarf I made in 7th grade. Brown and uneven, the yarn pulled too tight on one end, too loose on the other. I remember giving it to her one Christmas. She wore it once to church, then folded it away. It's faded now, the edges frayed, but intact. I sit for a while on the step, scarf in my lap, letting the light shift around me. Maybe the damage wasn't done by shouting. Maybe it was done by silence when I needed them most. But not today. Today, I don't say anything either. And somehow, that feels like peace. The first thing I place in the new apartment is a jar with 3 half-burnt paintbrushes. They sit crooked in the glass, their bristles singed and warped from the fire. One still smells faintly of smoke if you bring it close enough. I don't plan to use them, not yet, maybe not ever. But I keep them in sight, a reminder of what I lost and what survived anyway. The apartment is behind Charlotte's shop. Technically, it used to be a storage unit, then an art studio, then forgotten. The ceiling is low, the floor's uneven, and the windows rattle when the wind picks up. But the lock works, the roof holds, and the key is mine. It smells like ink and dust and something just shy of new. Not fresh, but ready. I set down a second-hand desk from a thrift shop on Hardy Street, wobbling slightly, but solid. The mattress is on the floor, no frame. I've got one lamp from the flea market, a dented kettle, and a folding chair that whines when I sit. It's not much. But for the first time in a long time, everything here is mine. I open my laptop and log in. Hayden Studio. That's the name now. No fancy agency branding, no slick titles, no fake co-founder bios to make the business look bigger than it is. Just me. Charlotte stops by later with a bag of leftover scones and 2 chipped mugs. She looks around the room, eyeing the bare walls and mismatched furniture. You naming it after yourself? I nod. It's the only thing I still own. She doesn't argue, just smiles and sets the mugs by the kettle. I sit at the desk, open a drawer, and find a stack of Post-it notes. Most are faded. One corner of the pad is peeling. I write slowly, deliberately. No more giving from empty. I stick it above the desk, slightly crooked. For years, I believed helping meant pouring until I had nothing left. Until I burned down. Until I slept in borrowed cars and got told there was no room in houses I helped keep open. But this place? It doesn't ask for anything. It just holds me. The scarf Mom left me sits on the back of the chair now. It's scratchy, brown, uneven. I run my fingers along the stitches, some too tight, some barely holding. It's the first thing I ever made for someone else. And now, maybe, the last. The kettle hisses. I pour tea, sit back, and let the light shift across the room. Outside, Charlotte starts closing the front shop. I can hear her sweeping, the soft drag of bristles on tile. The air smells like dust and cinnamon and whatever hope's been trying to become in me lately. My inbox dings. Brian, heard you're rebuilding. Want help? I don't hesitate. I type, let's talk. Then I hit send. I don't know what comes next. I'm not making 5-year plans, not trying to map the next version of myself. But I do know this. I'm here. I'm not hiding. And for the first time in years, I'm not running on empty. Just enough. The paint roller squeaks across the wall. The color is loud, mustard yellow. Not goldenrod or wheat or any of the polite shades I used to pick because they didn't offend. This one hums with defiance. It doesn't blend. It doesn't apologize. Charlotte peeks in, holding a mug of coffee and raising one eyebrow. That's bold. I don't pause. So am I now, apparently. She chuckles and sets the mug on the windowsill before stepping back out to the shop. It's early Saturday. The kind of morning where the air still smells like dew and everything feels possible. The studio is quiet except for the occasional creak of the old floorboards and the soft splash of paint against plaster. The wall behind my new desk is almost done. I take a step back, roller still in hand, and look at it. Not for flaws, but for truth. It's not perfect, but it's mine. After the paint sets a little, I start rearranging the space. Nothing fancy. A second-hand desk from Facebook Marketplace, a lamp from the flea market that flickers but feels loyal, a small bookshelf with exactly 6 books I know I'll reread. I unpack my laptop, plug in the charger, and open my website. Hayden Studio. The logo I made last night still makes me smile. A clean serif font with a pencil sketch of a porch swing in the corner. An Easter egg for no one but me. Charlotte reappears, wiping her hands on her apron. You naming it after yourself? I tap the screen once. It's the only thing I still own. Later that afternoon, Brian drops by. He knocks, then enters holding 2 coffees. Looks good in here, he says, taking in the wall the new order. It feels like mine, I reply. He sets the coffee on the edge of the desk, careful not to smudge the paper towel I've been using as a coaster. That's the trick, isn't it? What is? Making a place feel like yours, even when no one gave it to you. I nod. We don't say anything for a while. He doesn't ask about the family. I don't offer. Once he leaves, I pull out a small stack of Post-it notes. Bright blue squares, the kind you buy when you're trying to feel organized. I write something and press it to the yellow wall above the desk. No more giving from empty. It doesn't look like much. But it's the first thing I've written just for me in a long time. As the sun shifts, the yellow paint glows softly in the fading light. I drape the old scarf, brown, uneven, hand-knit in 7th grade, over the back of my chair. The same one Mom left on the porch. It's faded now, but steady. Its shadow sways slightly on the wall behind me, like breath that's no longer held. I sit at the desk, fingertips grazing the keyboard, and just stay. No emails, no invoices, no obligations, just presence. Brian texts around 6 p.m. Dinner tonight? Something that doesn't involve family trauma? I laugh quietly. Out loud this time. I type back, sure, as long as it involves pie. The yellow wall dries warm behind me. No longer a warning, just a welcome. Brian brings takeout and board games. Charlotte has pie. Someone else brings a bottle of something sparkling, non-alcoholic, just in case. The table in the center of the studio is too small for all the food. So we clear space on the shelves, tuck boxes under counters, and spread out across folding chairs and stools. It's not planned. Not really. Just a, why not tonight? Kind of night. I look around the room, at people pulling up sleeves to serve one another, passing napkins, laughing without glancing at phones. And I think, this feels like something real. The yellow wall I painted last week catches the warm light from the string bulbs we strung up hastily this morning. It throws a soft glow across everyone's faces. There's music playing low from someone's Bluetooth speaker, a playlist that doesn't try too hard. Old soul songs, a few soft folk ballads. Charlotte cuts the pie like she's done it in this kitchen 100 times. She hasn't. This is the first. Feels like a second Thanksgiving, she says, smiling as she hands Brian a plate. He takes it with mock reverence. First one where I don't want to leave early. Everyone laughs, even me. I don't say much tonight, but I don't need to. It's the kind of room that doesn't demand stories from you. It just makes space if you offer them. There's a knock on the door around 7:45. It's Claire, the woman who runs the flower shop 2 blocks down. She brings a container of bread. She says she didn't have time to bake properly. It's perfect. We play a board game with a few broken pieces. Charlotte substitutes with coins. Someone miscounts the rules. No one cares. At one point, Brian leans back in his chair, arms crossed, smiling as he watches me refill mugs with cider from the slow cooker on the counter. "Look at you," he says, hosting without even realizing it. I shrug. Just seemed easier to leave the door open. Sometime near the end of the night, when the game pieces are scattered and half the pie is gone, I look around and realize something quietly profound. No one here knows what I've done for them. Not financially, not logistically. I haven't paid their rent. I haven't covered their insurance deductibles. I haven't filled their fridges or kept their lights on. And yet, they stay because they want to, not because they need to. I lean forward, raise my mug, a chipped thing with a fading print of a dog in sunglasses, and tap it gently against Charlotte's. "To real peace," I say, "and no more silent debt." She clinks hers against mine. Amen. Brian joins in. Then Claire. A full moment passes in that soft sound of mismatched mugs connecting. Not perfect, but chosen. Later, as we clean up, Charlotte bumps her hip against mine and says, "You're different, Hayden." I smile but don't look up. Just honest now. The scarf is still draped over my chair. Its shadow dances lightly on the yellow wall behind me. There's no weight in it anymore, just presence. The phone rings. Name on the screen, Roy Brooks. I stare at it. I don't move, let it ring twice. Then, without thinking too much, I swipe to answer. "Hi." There's a pause on the other end. Just air, the faint rustle of background noise. Maybe a TV, maybe wind through an open screen door. Then his voice. "Your mom misses you." Simple. No build-up. Just that. "I'm all right," I say. I'm not sure if it's an answer or a placeholder, but he doesn't press. It's a cool Tuesday evening. The kind where the air finally gives up the last of the summer heat, and the breeze feels like a small apology. I've just finished a client website, a gift shop run by a retired schoolteacher. The kind of project that doesn't pay much, but feels good to do. The yellow wall behind me glows soft in the dusk. The studio is quiet, not lonely, just still. On the other end of the line, Dad exhales. "I don't know what we were thinking," he says. "I fixed Kyle's truck myself last week." There's a small chuckle. Didn't fall apart, not yet anyway. Another pause, then, "It's quiet without you." I'll let that sit for a second, maybe two. Then I answer, not to be cruel, not to be clever, just to tell the truth. "I didn't want quiet," I say. "I wanted care." He doesn't respond, not right away. I imagine him sitting in his recliner, the one I helped pay for, remote in one hand, notepad in the other. Maybe he wrote this conversation down first. Maybe not. Maybe he just finally ran out of ways to avoid it. The silence between us isn't heavy. It's just unpracticed. Then, softly, "Be well, son." Not a command, not a farewell. More like a wish he doesn't quite know how to make. "You too, Dad." We hang up. I don't feel lighter. I don't feel heavier. I just feel done. Not the kind of done that slams doors or throws things out. The kind that quietly sets something down and walks away without needing to look back. I glance at the file box under the desk. Brooks. Personal. Still dented. Still taped at the edge. Still closed. Not trashed, not opened, just there. Like a part of the room I no longer trip over. I don't delete the number. Don't block anyone. Don't write anything down. And I don't call back. The phone is still in my hand. I set it down next to the scarf, folded neatly now on the edge of the bookshelf. The studio hums around me. Printer idle, computer in sleep mode, soft rustle of the curtain catching evening air. This is peace, I think. Not dramatic, not loud, but real, and enough. Brian hands me a wooden box. Charlotte found it behind the shop. Figured it was yours. The box is small, stained a deep walnut. The brass clasp is slightly rusted. The lid creaks when I open it. Inside, 3 burned brushes. The handles are blackened, 2 of the bristles half melted and warped sideways like they'd tried to run from the heat and didn't make it. I stare at them longer than I expect to. They're not pretty, not functional. But I know exactly which ones they are. 1 flat, 1 round, 1 angled. Each once part of the kit I used back in college. Each with a strip of color near the base from where I dipped too deep and never cleaned properly. They survived the fire. Somehow. Just enough. It's late afternoon. The porch of the studio is warm beneath us. The spring breeze slipping through the slats of the latticework like it knows its way around. The sun hangs low, casting thin shadows across the steps. Charlotte's wind chimes tinkle softly somewhere nearby, metallic and shy. Brian sits beside me, arms loose over his knees, eyes on the horizon. Planning to paint again? I don't answer right away. Maybe, I say. Or maybe just keep these to remember what survived. He nods once, doesn't press. I carry the box inside, set it on my desk beside the scarf. The old brown yarn has softened with time. I reach for a clean glass jar, a repurposed candle actually, and place the brushes inside. The charred ends up like flags that didn't burn all the way through. Then I take a small slip of paper and write, in pen that still smudges, silence isn't revenge. It's clarity. I fold it once and tuck it beneath the jar. For a while, I don't move. I just stand there looking at the collection. A scarf from 7th grade. 3 half-burnt brushes. A note only I'll read. No new trophies, no polished finishes. But they are mine. Not because they're valuable. Because they stayed. I used to think that losing everything would feel like a dramatic collapse. Fire, ash, devastation. But it wasn't. It was pruning. Necessary, messy, quiet. And the parts that grew back, they belonged to me. I close the studio door, turn off the lights. The soft click of the switch feels like punctuation. For the first time in years, there's nothing buzzing in the back of my head. No debt to track, no bill I've forgotten to pay for someone else. No guilt waiting at the edge of sleep, just stillness. I step back onto the porch. Brian's already there, 2 coffees in hand. He doesn't say anything, just hands me one. We sit together, legs stretched out, mugs warm in our palms. The wind picks up again. A car drives by, slow, then turns the corner and disappears. We say nothing, not out of awkwardness, just peace. I glance at the porch swing. It creaks gently in the breeze, empty but present, like it's waiting for no one in particular. The scarf, inside, rests on my chair. The brushes, scorched but upright, face the window. Nothing about this moment is flashy, but it's sacred, not because it's loud, because it's real. And I think family isn't blood. It's who shows up when you have nothing left to give and still want you. In the weeks that followed, life didn't become extraordinary. It just became mine. I woke up when I wanted, made coffee the way I liked it, worked at my own pace. No one texted asking for favors. No one waited for me to fill in their silence with my savings. There were no dramatic reconciliations, no sweeping apologies. But there was space, quiet, unoccupied space, for me to rebuild. And that, I've come to realize, is its own kind of grace. I used to believe that family was something fixed, rooted in blood and history and obligation. But now I know better. Family is presence. It's the people who remember your birthday without needing reminders. The ones who show up with pie and stay after the dishes are done. The ones who accept the you that exists without usefulness attached. Some days, I still feel a tug, a small ache where expectation used to live. But I don't feed it. I let it pass, like the Mississippi breeze in late spring, warm, familiar, but no longer something I chase. I haven't deleted their numbers, haven't thrown away the past. But I've learned how to live beside it without letting it take the lead. Sometimes, healing doesn't look like reconciliation. Sometimes, it looks like choosing peace over performance, stillness over noise, a full heart over an empty bank account. And in this stillness, in this life I now call my own, I finally feel enough. In every family, love and duty often blur, but we must learn where generosity ends and self-erasure begins. True peace isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about living in alignment with your own truth. If a relationship only thrives when you pay for it, it's not love, it's leverage. Sometimes setting a boundary isn't a break in the family, it's the start of healing your own. If this story brought you clarity or comfort, we'd love for you to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We share stories like this every week. Quiet, healing tales that remind us we're not alone. Stick around. There's more waiting for you.